Life without love is like tree hanging on the rope. This mother dies irresponsibly. She woke before sunrise every day, but she never imagined her last dawn would come from the hands of her own child. This is the story of Mila, American woman, who killed by 9 years old because of bread. Her soul cries in bloodshed. Mira had lived most of her life in quiet struggle. At 34, she carried responsibilities far heavier than her small frame suggested. After her husband abandoned her, she found herself raising her 9-year-old son, Sammy, alone. She loved him fiercely. Every morning, before the sun touched the rooftops, she would slip quietly out of their tiny room and walk toward the city. She worked as a cleaner in the homes of wealthy families, marble floors, crystal lamps, and kitchens bigger than the entire place she lived in. She scrubbed the dirt of others, polished floors she would never own, and washed dishes from dinners she could never dream of eating. And she did it all with aching hands and an empty stomach. Every coin mattered. She would save what she earned to buy food for Sammy first. "He needs to grow," she would say, even on days when she herself swallowed only water. Despite all her effort, life was still harsh. Sammy had grown up with far too little. He watched other kids with new clothes, full lunchboxes, and shining toys. Envy and hunger twisted inside him. Mira didn't see it happening, how isolation and resentment slowly hardened the child she loved. One evening, after an exhausting day, Mira came home carrying a small loaf of bread. It was all she could afford. Her eyes were bright with tired pride. She hadn't eaten all day so that Sammy could have something warm. But Sammy was already irritated, hungry, and angry at the world. When Mira tore the bread in half and handed him the larger piece, he snapped. "That's all! That's all you brought!" he shouted. Mira tried to calm him, her voice soft and trembling. "Baby, it's what I could get today. Eat, I'm not hungry." But those words, meant to comfort him, only fueled his frustration. "You always say that. You always lie. You're eating without me when I'm gone." The fear of starvation, something that had lived inside the boy since he was small, exploded into something uncontrollable. In a moment of blind, furious confusion, Sammy grabbed the kitchen knife, the same knife Mira used every morning to slice bread for him. Mira stepped back, shocked. "Sammy, sweetheart, put it down, please." But the boy was shaking, crying, trembling with anger he didn't understand. And in that tragic, heartbreaking moment, his small hands acted faster than his mind. He stabbed her, again and again, in panic, in rage, in fear. No words, no screams, just the sound of a child who didn't know what he was doing until it was done. When the frenzy ended, Mira lay on the floor, her eyes still gentle, still full of love even in her final breath. Her last thought was not fear, but sorrow for the boy she was leaving behind. Sammy stood frozen, the bread still lying on the table behind him. A piece of bread, nothing more, had shattered both of their lives. When the authorities found him, the boy sat beside his mother, holding her hand, crying softly. "I didn't mean to, Mama, I didn't mean to." But some mistakes cannot be undone, and in the quiet of that tiny room, the world lost a woman who gave everything, and a child who lost far more than he could ever understand.